Welcome to Contemplative Living, where we view contemplations for the week to have a better understanding of our spiritual paths. This is Contemplative Living with Dave Bennett, contemplations and reflective meditations. Hello, welcome to another Contemplative Living where we bring concepts of contemplation into our daily lives. Spirit once said to me, within us exists a living flame that embraces the wholeness of life and understands that life is an infinitely expanding consciousness. Well, in that consciousness that Spirit's talking about, it's within each and every one of us. It's that flame that gets our passions moving. It's that flame that embraces us and embraces life. And to touch that, we have to be aware of who we are. And a lot of times, our own body is giving us the clues. And so that's what we're going to talk about this morning. We're going to talk about how our body can help us and how we can help our body to live and embrace the wholeness of life. So that's where we're going today. All right. So it's important to pay attention to our body's intuition, how our bodies speak to us. Now, if you're aware of the chakra system and if you're aware of energetic systems like I use with my energetic healing, things like that, you're aware that that our body receives information in a lot of different ways. And it receives energy, not just through, one way, but through multiple ways all the time. And so what we eat, what we think, how we practice our spirituality, all of those things influence who we are and influence our body's state of being. So when someone comes into your sphere of influence, they are projecting their entire wholeness just as you are. And when you come within each other's sphere of influence, that's when it starts to meld. And our bodies pick up these signals and this information. You know how a lot of times you have a gut reaction to when someone is close to you, and you've never met them before, but you get a gut reaction. Well, our gut ganglia actually are receptors, along with our heart and along with our mind. So when we use those and we pay attention, that information, it feels like intuition, but it's actually information that our body is receiving and transmitting to us. But we have to pay attention, and we have to learn how to listen to how our body speaks to us. Our bodies already know how to attain equilibrium, and we can enhance our physical state simply by listening to the clues our bodies give us. So equilibrium is a natural state in this physical world that we exist in. And hey, William, glad to see you could join me this morning. So equilibrium, balance, think of it as balance. We have the scales here to show us, that if we do something that causes imbalance, our scales are going to go one up, one down. And we're not going to be able to function properly. Well, the same thing with the information that our body is trying to tell us. If we're not in balance, if we don't seek equilibrium, our body is constantly seeking equilibrium, easy for me to say this morning, then we're not going to hear the clues that our body gives us. So that means that we have to be in tune with our body, with who we are, and who we are spiritually. All those things combine together into a wholeness of being. Focus on restoring balance and how we can become more self-aware. Now, there's so many ways to approach this, and I'm not gonna purport one system over another. I believe that each and every one of us have our own paths, and each and every one of us have a way that we feel where we can restore our center, restore our sense of being, our balance. I find that many times that happens in nature. Even for me, I've been a very athletic person most of my life until, of course, the cancer and my spine collapsed. But even then, I try to be active. I try to do things. And so I find physical activity and being in nature, so that means taking walks. For more athletic people, maybe taking hikes, going out and using the the paddleboard or a kayak or something, and just being out in nature and being physical at the same time brings an incredible amount of balance for me. Now, I'm not saying that's for everybody. Also, I love my meditation. I talk about it all the time on this podcast. I talk about how we need a spiritual practice. Well, that also brings me back into my center. I also use mantras. I have one mantra that I say repeatedly, multiple times during the day, whenever anything touches my heart, and that's, thank you for this life. Now, I say it in a unique way. I say it as Palamia Wachonihe, which is a Native American tongue, but that was taught to me by one of my teachers. But I use that whenever something touches my heart, and it brings me right back to my center. I have many friends that use mantras, and some of them just, love is my center, or something like that, a phrase that just has deep meaning and is connected to their essential ideal of what life is for them. So restoring balance is what we're really talking about here, because when we're in balance, our awareness is fully available to us. And that's what we want. We want our awareness to be fully available. Now, another way is conscious breath can completely shift our perception. So when we take, a lot of times when, like we're going to go into an important meeting or we have something important to do, we take a deep breath beforehand. We take a deep breath, and immediately we feel different. Well, that's because breath, prana, is so completely connected to our body's information system. So when we take that conscious breath, it changes our perception. It brings us into closer to our center and enhances our awareness. So it's important when you are going to shift gears, take that deep breath and allow it to shift your perception into the present moment and with full awareness, so that you can then be the productive person that you want to be. Like I was talking earlier, increase your energy. Walk, run, create movement of some form and some way. Avoid the doldrums. Now, those of you that are sailors like myself know what the doldrums are. That's that place where everything is absolutely quiet. There's no wind, no breeze, and the heat is just permeating through your body, and it's almost like this creates a stagnant place where nothing is achieved. We don't want that in life. We don't want the doldrums. We want to keep constantly moving forward. one of the interesting things is, I guess it may be because of my background at sea, but when Spirit is kind of like wants to give me a little boost or a little kick to tell me, hey, you're heading for the doldrums, it shows me this image of a ship that's, slack sailed and just sitting there in absolutely peace. Well, I mean, that's a beautiful image. But what Spirit does for me is it tells me to grab the rope and haul on, so to bring the sails up and into fullness. And so I encourage myself when I get that image, it's like, okay, Spirit's telling me to haul on and to get moving, because we always want to be moving. Good morning, Justine. I'm glad you could join us. So we want to constantly be moving forward. And finally, we are social creatures who thrive in community. And this has been a huge lesson in the last 18 months. We've been forced into less social activities. We've been confined. We've been, pushed into a serious lack of activity. And so our bodies react when we are socially active. It's another part of our communication. If we don't foster that communication with our body, it's like our body, it's like anything. If you don't exercise your muscles, they don't stay tuned. And so our body needs that social interaction to stay tuned. So, yes, right now we're using a lot of social media and things like that, and that's great, but that's only one element, and it doesn't really feed our bodies as much as being in physical closeness in other people's spheres of influence. When we're in those types of things, even if we just go out to dinner by ourselves, bring a book and go to a restaurant and have a nice meal where other people are, and you can at least people watch, go to a mall, sit in the mall, watch people walk around, even if you have to wear your mask, but to be in the influence of other people. It helps our body to increase those communicative skills. It helps, which then helps us to create that balance. We need to be in each other's spheres, and that's really critical. So I hope you take some time this week to be with other people, to exercise, keep moving, keep your energy up, and pay attention to what your body's trying to tell you. Because I've found in this life that when I pay attention to what my body is trying to tell me, that those are the moments that are the most meaningful, because they guide me and they can guide you to a more purposeful and more wholesome way of living. So I hope you have a beautiful week. Namaste.